Welcome to Nurse Lounge Café. I'm Patty, and today I'm taking you back to England in the 1950s, to a time when the wards still carried the memory of polio, and the country was learning what it meant to protect children before sickness could take their legs, their lungs, and their futures. People imagine the 50s as tidy and calm, but inside the hospital it was never tidy and never calm. It was organised pressure. It was starched uniforms, clipped instructions, and a constant awareness that the next child through the door might be the one who can't breathe by nightfall. In our town, you'd see the posters everywhere, in the post office window, on the notice boards, in the clinic corridor: protect your child, vaccination clinic, safe, free, effective. The words looked confident, but the faces on the parents weren't confident at all. They were careful, suspicious, hopeful, frightened. And if you worked in the hospital, you understood exactly why. Because polio wasn't a story, it was a sound. It was the hush that fell when a mother carried a child who was too heavy with tiredness. It was the click of trolley wheels at speed. It was the mechanical breathing of a machine doing what a body could not. I remember the receiving corridor on clinic days, the doors opening and closing, the smell of disinfectant and damp coats, parents arriving with children in their arms, some feverish and limp, some wide-eyed and clinging, some pretending to be brave because their mum needed them to be. You could see the question in every parent's face, even if they didn't say it out loud. Is this safe? Will this help? Is it too late? And our job wasn't just to give an injection. Our job was to hold the room steady, to stop panic spreading faster than the illness ever could. The truth is, the hospital ran on hierarchy. Matron ran the nurses, doctors ran the decisions, and the rest of us ran the reality. We had lists, registers, appointment cards, and strict instructions about storage and timing. We prepared the clinic like a military operation, because that's what public health looked like then. Clipboards, forms, glass syringes, metal trays, cotton wool, antiseptic, boil and sterilize, count and record. No shortcuts, no excuses. We didn't have the luxury of being casual, and yet for the families none of that was what mattered. What mattered was the moment their child sat down in that chair, small arm exposed, eyes flicking from the needle to their mother's face. Some children froze completely. Some cried quietly and tried not to make a fuss. Some went stiff and angry, like bravery was the only shield they had. I learned quickly that you don't talk down to a child in that moment. You tell the truth in a gentle voice. You say, "This will pinch and then it will be done." You let them feel they have dignity, even when they're frightened. I'd watch a mother's hand on her child's shoulder. I'd see her smile too hard, trying to make the fear look like reassurance, and I'd say, softly, "You're doing the right thing." Because I needed them to hear that. They weren't just protecting their own child, they were protecting other children too. That's what people forget. Public health isn't only medicine, it's trust, it's community, it's the decision to step forward even when you can't guarantee the future. On some days, we still had the iron lungs in the building. Not always in use, but present, heavy, silent, waiting in the background like a warning. If you'd ever stood beside one, you never forgot what it meant. A child inside a tube, their breathing managed by pressure and metal, their parents standing nearby, helpless, praying. That is why the posters mattered. That is why the clinic mattered. That is why we pushed for it, even when people muttered and resisted and said they didn't like being told what to do. Because the alternative wasn't a political debate. The alternative was a child in a machine. And when the clinic queue stretched down the corridor, I felt two things at once. Pride, because people were showing up, and pressure because we had to do it right, record correctly, store correctly, give the right dose, keep the process safe. Because one mistake could destroy trust for years. I remember a boy who came in holding himself very still, like if he didn't move, the needle couldn't find him. His mother was calm on the outside, but her eyes were wet. When the moment came, he stared at the wall and whispered, "Is it going to hurt?" And I said yes, a little, but it's not as bad as what we're stopping." And he nodded once, like he understood something older than his age. Afterwards, when I handed him a little card, "Well done, thank you for protecting your child," his mother's shoulders dropped, like she'd been holding her breath since winter. That's what it was like, a whole country learning to exhale, not all at once, not perfectly, but step by step, family by family, child by child. And at the end of the day, when the forms were stacked and the trays were cleared and the last parent walked out into the evening, I'd stand in the doorway and watch them go. Coats buttoned, children sleepy in arms. A little less fear in the air than there had been in the morning. We were nurses, yes, but in those moments we were also translators of hope. We were the calm voice in a frightened room. We were the steady hands that helped a community choose prevention over tragedy. Before I finish, I want to anchor this story properly. What you've heard is a dramatized narrative inspired by historical sources about polio, immunization, and public health in the mid-20th century. It is not clinical guidance, and it is not medical advice. The reference sources shown on the screen include the following: Maxwell, J.H. 1986, The Iron Lung, Halfway Technology or Necessary Step, The Milbank Quarterly, Volume 64, Issue 1, pages 3 to 29. Patterson, K.H. 2020, An Historical View of Nursing and Polio, OJIN, The Online Journal of Issues in Nursing, Volume 26, Issue 1, DOI 10.3912/OJIN.Volume 26, Number 01, PPT 05. Francis T. 1955, Evaluation of the 1954 Poliomyelitis Vaccine Field Trial, Further Studies of Results Determining the Effectiveness of Poliomyelitis Vaccine, SALK, in Preventing Paralytic Poliomyelitis, JAMA, Volume 158, Issue 14, pages 1266 to 1270, DOI 10.10/JAMA.195.029601400280004. Thank you for being here with Nurse Lounge Café. If you want the next chapter, comment the character name you want next, Annie, Betty or Patty, and tell me the topic you want us to cover. We'll see you soon.